Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started in 2 minutes. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Taya Brown, and I'm the Administrator Coordinator at the Temple Small Business Development Center. The Temple SBDC helps small businesses start, grow, and succeed. We do this through our no-cost consulting and a variety of our no-cost webinars and training programs like the one you're attending today. You're joining us for quick ways to improve your website, a better experience, and more conversions. We are recording today's session, and a copy of the recording and PowerPoint will be sent to all attendees within 2 to 3 business days in a follow-up email. All attendees have been muted. We encourage you to post any questions you may have in the Q&A. Now I'll turn over the floor to Mike Samays.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining. Today is we're going to talk about better ways to improve your website and hopefully result in more conversions. As Taya just said, my name is Mike Samays. I am the owner of Customer Journey Pros. We are located in Chester Springs, Chester County. We specialize in affordable website design for small businesses, and we also get businesses found online using Google Ads. Now, being in the business that I am, I look at an awful lot of websites in the course of a day, and I consistently see things that small businesses are either doing wrong or technical issues that really should be addressed. Now, as we all know, your website is the face of your business, right? It's what prospective customers are going to be seeing when checking out your company. So needless to say, it's critical to put your best foot forward and convince them to stick around. Unfortunately, people have short attention spans, and you really only have a couple seconds to grab their attention and convince them to stick around. But the good news is today I'm going to share with you 18 quick tips to potentially improve your website. And if you're just launching your business and you have yet to build your website, hopefully this will serve as a good checklist to help you along that process. So let's jump right in. So I divided things into 4 different categories. We're going to talk about technical issues, layout and design, what I'm calling trust factors, and lastly, conversion boosters. And we'll talk about what a conversion is when we get there. And by the way, there's going to be 2 built-in breaks in this presentation. So if you have questions, you can put them in the Q&A box here in Zoom, and then Taya will address them again at the designated break. So anyway, just a heads up on that. Okay, so as I said, let's start off with technical issues. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is test the performance of your website. Specifically, how quickly does your website load? This is something that a lot of small business owners overlook, and frankly, they don't even know they're supposed to be doing it. The reason being is twofold. First of all, believe it or not, 25% of people will actually abandon a website if it takes more than 4 seconds to load. So think about that for a second. You could conceivably be losing 25% of your prospects simply because you have a slow loading website. The other reason is that Google puts a lot of emphasis on how quickly a website loads, when determining how they're going to rank that customer in the search results. So I'm sure you've heard of the term SEO or search engine optimization. Most of the tips that I'm going to be sharing with you today will help make your website more SEO friendly and conceivably help you rank higher in Google search results. So those are two very important reasons why you want to know whether or not your website is sluggish or whether it's loading quickly. The good news is it's a really quick and easy thing to do. There's two different places you can go. One is called Page Speed Insights. The other one is GT Metrics. Now, in both cases, you simply put in the website's URL, your website's URL, and you will get a rating of your website. But on top of that, you will get a list of things that need to be addressed. And you can simply turn that over to whoever is managing your website, and they can address those issues. Now, admittedly, some of it's going to be a little technical, but again, anybody in the website business will know how to take care of those things. But that's an important first step. And again, that's assuming, of course, you have a business website already. The other thing you want to do as a quick health check is make sure that your website is mobile friendly, meaning that it renders properly on mobile devices, iPhones, tablets, and the like. The reason being is that, believe it or not, most searches today, Google searches, are done on mobile devices. I guess that's not much of a surprise because let's face it, everybody's on their phones all the time, everyone's on the move, and everyone's pretty much conducting business on their phones. So without a doubt, this is another biggie that Google will absolutely not rank a website that is not mobile friendly. So chances are your website is, but again, it's a quick check that you want to do on your business website. All you need to do is jump on Google and type in mobile friendly tests. And sure enough, you'll get what you're seeing on the left-hand side, a place to put in your URL. And there's a good chance that you're going to get quick confirmation there on the right side, indicating that your website is in fact mobile friendly. But again, something that's really important to do, because if not, again, you'll never show up in Google search rankings. Okay, another biggie is make sure your website is secure. And I'm going to explain what that means. But believe it or not, about 25, maybe not 25, 20% of small businesses that I look at, their websites are not secure. And that is not a good thing, meaning that when people go to their website in whatever browser, whether it's Chrome, Safari, or Microsoft Edge, used to be Internet Explorer, it's going to give an indication, as we see here, where it says literally not secure. And that is absolutely the wrong message that you want to be sending prospective customers. In fact, it could be scaring away prospects. So you're going to want to jump on, or get into Chrome or whatever browser you use, and confirm that your website is not one of these. But let's take a look at some examples. Like, here's a bit of irony. This is actually a security company that is not secure. I don't know. I find that ironic. Or some business consultants. Not sure I want to work with them because, again, they're coming up as not secure. And also, in the world of irony, financial advisors that they're saying they're not secure, and yet they're trying to convince you to turn over your life savings to them. But in all cases, when people go to their website, it is saying not secure. So how do you fix that? Well, you reach out to whoever is hosting your website and ask for what's called a security certificate, or an SSL. They will know what that means. In most cases, it's either free or there's not or a relatively minimal charge. But once they put that in place, you're going to get the coveted padlock here, and that's what you want your website to look like. You do not want the words not secure. And on top of that, your company's URL will go from HTTP to HTTPS. And again, the S meaning secure, and that's what you're shooting for. So that is a biggie. I see that time and again with small businesses. Another quick health check that you're going to want to do is take a look at the URLs of each and every page on your website and just make sure there's not some unnecessary, what I'm calling gibberish, meaning numbers, symbols, just kind of random stuff, for two reasons. One, it makes your website look unprofessional, frankly. And secondly, it kind of makes your website look a little sketch. People might be a little concerned about that. And this is not an outlier. I mean, these are actually 4 companies right here in Chester County that I found. Obviously, I blanked out their names. But the point is, this is something that I see time and again. And there's a good chance it does not apply to you. But again, just to make sure that you're delivering the best user experience possible, you might want to make sure that you clean up your URLs. Another biggie of mine, I'm going to teach you a new word today. It's called a favicon, and you want to make sure your website has a favicon. So what is a favicon? Favicon is that symbol just to the left of the name on the browser tab. So more specifically, it's the logo. So in these examples, Adobe, Amazon, and Instagram, obviously we know all those companies, and those there are their logos. That is called the favicon. And let me show you some, I guess, less well-known examples. So here's 5 more. Here, the first 3 to the left, sure enough, do an excellent job with their favicon. They have their company logo, and it's easy to, it's part of their branding, and it helps identify that company. But the other 2, not so much. So if you're using WordPress, if your website is built on WordPress, and if you don't indicate the favicon, by default, you're just going to get the WordPress logo. And unless your company is WordPress, that doesn't make any sense. You don't want that. Or in many cases, you're just going to get assigned kind of this random black and white blob, which is kind of weird as well. So you're probably asking, well, why is this a big deal? Well, as I already mentioned, it is, first of all, part of your website's branding. That's number 1. 2, it makes your website look more finished, more professional. But I'll give you a more practical reason. In many cases, myself included, it's very common for people to have multiple tabs open and be browsing, many different browser sessions open at the same time. And when that happens, everything scrunches, and the only thing that shows is you guessed it, the favicon. So you need to give your website visitors an easy way to be able to get back to your website, and having your logo there will do exactly that. But having a WordPress logo is not going to cut it. So hopefully that makes sense. But again, it's a quick fix and easy to do, because you simply upload a square image of your logo and it makes everything go away. But again, this is just a small little thing that I see very often with small business websites. And the ones that have a favicon just have a more, again, polished and professional look. And ironically, I see website companies that they don't even have a favicon. So it's a bit of an obsession with me, perhaps. But anyway, it's something that you want to look out for. All right, let's take a quick, let's shift gears to layout and design. So another thing that you want to look at is, does your homepage, and frankly, every page on your website, clearly communicate your value proposition? So I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but as we already talked about, you only have seconds to capture the attention of the visitors to your website. You need to clearly communicate what your business is all about and how your business is going to help them. Let's face it, people who jump on Google are looking for solutions. They may be looking for a plumber, they're looking for an electrician, they're looking for a dog walker. It doesn't matter. They're doing a search for something, and your company is going to come up. So you have to instantly communicate that, yeah, I'm the right company for you. So let's take a look at some not so great examples. So here's a website where it simply says business moves fast. What does that even mean? So that's not telling me who they are, what they do. It's not giving us any real good information. In a similar vein, here's another example, fresh insights. What does that mean? I'm not sure what they do. I see an image of a calculator. Are they accountants? Who knows? But the point is, these are missed opportunities. And I see this very, very often where people are not taking advantage of that primary headline. So let's take a look at some good examples. Defend your data. It's the lifeblood of your business. Boom. We know exactly what this company does. They are in the data protection business for businesses, right? Or here's another example. Celebrating our 70th year of building new homes in the Mid-South. What does this company do? They build new homes. They do it in the Mid-South, and they've been doing it for a long time. Tells me everything I need to know. And it confirms that I'm in the right place based on the search that I did. But I'm going to give you another reason, and that is, you probably can guess it, it's Google. Google reads that primary headline, right? That is called, I'll give you another term, it's called an H1. If you want to impress your web person, you can tell them that we need to improve our H1. The point is, an H1 is critically important in communicating to Google what your website's all about. So you have to think in terms, in every instance, you have two audiences. You have people, obviously, who are going to be visiting your website, but you need to do the right things to communicate to Google. And your primary headline is critically important in that process. So coming up with just abstract or kind of cutesy headlines totally miss the mark, and you just have to be much more precise talking about what you do. So here's another quick example. Here's a company in Chester County. They make custom furniture. Specifically, they make what are called farmhouse tables. And sure enough, the primary headline, custom farmhouse dining tables, says it all right there, again, communicating to both people and Google. But secondly, that secondary headline called an H2, there again says Pennsylvania tables in the farm tradition, but again, communicating that these are farm tables. And I don't know where you're physically located today, but I'm willing to bet that if you jump on Google and type farm tables near me, there's a good chance that these guys come up on the first page automatically, organically. So don't do it now, stick with me, but do it after the webinar. But the point is that your primary headlines on each and every page is really important. So if let's say you're a tree surgeon and you have a page dedicated to stump grinding and you have a page dedicated to tree removal, put those words in your primary headline. Okay. Aim for easy to read and scannable content, meaning that limit the amount of text that you put on a page, try to keep it short and readable, try to use bullet points whenever possible, because here's the deal. People don't read a website like they read a book. They scan a website. Everybody does. We're all in a hurry. We just scan a website. Is this place going to give me the information I'm looking for or not? So if you have text like this, that's just seemingly endless, no one's going to read it. They're going to glaze over, and you're going to totally miss the point and miss some opportunities. So try to keep your text again somewhat limited, but at the same time, it's good to pepper in what are called keywords, which are the key phrases you're shooting after for your target audience. Kind of on those same lines, is you want to cut the website jargon for one thing. You certainly don't want to put in these kind of corporate buzzwords that I'm showing here to the right-hand side. What you're shooting for is well-written, easy to follow content. And a rule of thumb is speak conversationally. In other words, describe your business as if you're talking to a friend. How would you describe your business if you were sitting down over a cup of coffee with a friend of yours? That's kind of the way you want to talk on your website. Also, make sure you use fresh and unique content, meaning that by no means copy content from another website. That is plagiarism. And even if you copy content from a company well out of this area, let's say you go to California and find a similar company to what you do, don't steal their copy, because Google basically will catch you and you'll get penalized in the search results. Another thing too is testing the readability of your content. There's a lot of tools out there. One's called, I think, Hemingway Editor, and you can simply put in your website's copy, and sure enough, you can find out whether or not it hits the readability. Another thing too, if you're using WordPress, a common plugin is called Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T. It rhymes with toast. That is an SEO plugin, and they will automatically test the readability of your content. And here's a fun fact. Believe it or not, you're looking not to exceed the reading level of an 8th grader. So it does not do you any favors to try to put in sophisticated words or try to come across, sophisticated, I guess, for lack of a better term. The point is, that is, believe it or not, the benchmark from an SEO standpoint is keep that reading level around there. Okay, another big one of mine is lots of photos of happy, smiling people. And what am I talking about? Well, time and again, I see great websites that have lots of content, good content. They talk about the company, what they do, the service areas that they provide, and so forth. But there's not a lot of engagement. It's not a warm website. They're not showing people. And if you look at any mid-sized company or larger, you'll see a common theme that, yeah, you need to put in pictures of people, just happy people doing things. And I know that sounds odd, but again, check out a few companies and you'll quickly see what I'm talking about. To make your website more friendly and engaging and encourage people to stick around, try to incorporate, make it more warm and friendly by doing things such as this. So here's a bank, and as you can see, there's a picture of a family just doing a family portrait, family photo. Has nothing to do with banking, but it's what people expect to see. Or here's a wealth management company, and you got, this happy smiling young couple on a laptop. Who knows, they could be shopping on Amazon, we don't know, but the point is, this is what kind of people expect to see. And here's a group sitting at a table having lunch or dinner, but you get the idea. This is something that if you take a critical look at your website and look at each and every page and just make sure, or try to, not necessarily every page, but try to do your best to incorporate pictures like this to just make it a lot more interesting for people to stick around. So where do you get these photos? Well, there's a ton of places. I happen to use mostly the one at the bottom. It's Adobe stock, but also the one over to the right, Big Stock, is another one. But there's tons of photo options. What you want to do a Google search for is what's called stock photos or royalty-free photos. And you'll get all sorts of results. Generally, they're very inexpensive, about $3 or $4 each, depending on your source. Sometimes they can get pricey. But you absolutely can get either free ones in many cases, or pay a minimal fee. So it's certainly not a big expense to improve your website and beef it up with some nice fun photos. Okay, another thing, adding a frequently asked questions section is something that you ought to consider. And I'll give you a few reasons. One, you're preemptively, or proactively, I should say, answering the questions of the people who are coming to your website. Okay, so if you've been in business for any length of time, I'm willing to bet that you get the same questions from prospects over and over. It's just kind of the nature of things. So my suggestion to you is to take those questions, or lean back in a chair with a notepad and pen and simply jot down the things that people ask you over and over, but then park them on your website to, again, proactively answer those questions. Why? Well, I'll give you 3 quick reasons. One, it's going to position you as kind of an expert in your subject, your subject matter. So again, depending on, no matter what you do, again, the idea of an FAQ section addresses or indicates that you're an expert in your field, is what I'm trying to say. Secondly, Google loves it. I know you're tired of hearing that, but it's there's widely believed that adding an FAQ section will help you in the SEO, from an SEO standpoint. And maybe this is a soft benefit, but the more text that you add on your website, it's going to keep people on your website longer. So, maybe that's a kind of wishy-washy benefit, but clearly the smart money is that, again, Google likes it. And secondly, it might save you getting a lot of unnecessary emails with just routine questions, plus positions you as an expert in your field. Okay. Hey, are there any questions out there so far?
So far, there's no questions.
Okay, fair enough. Let's keep moving on then. Okay, let's move on to what I call website trust factors. So we've already established that your website represents who you are and what you offer. But when people look at that website for the first time, they are thinking, is this site credible? Is this trustworthy? Is this a professional company? Is this company stable? Does it make me feel welcome? Am I even in the right place? And I'm sure a myriad of other of life's questions, but clearly people are asking this. So it's really important to establish trust with your audience, right out of the gate. And there's a number of ways that you can do that. So one thing that you want to do is make sure that you have a privacy policy in place. And many companies, in fact, most small businesses overlook this step. So the whole idea of a privacy policy is simply, well, telling people what data you collect and what you do with it. And the reason being is that Google is all about trust in the user experience. So those are 2 reasons right out of the gate that you should do this. So you may be thinking, well, wait a minute, I'm not an e-commerce company. I don't collect credit card information. So why do I need to do this? Well, chances are you have a contact form on your website And if that's the case, you're undoubtedly collecting either an email address or phone numbers or both. And that is called PII, or personal identifiable information. And for any company that collects PII, you need to indicate what you do with that information, meaning that are you selling it to a third party, or are you promising not to sell it to a third party, and so forth. So no one reads privacy policies, don't get me wrong, but it is just something that really should be added to your website, and you park it in the footer of your website. But our friends at Google do look at that as well, and that is a kind of a check mark in the win column, and will help you again in their eyes. So how do you do this? Well, there's different places. First of all, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's really simple to do. You can either Google free privacy or privacy policy generators or privacy policy templates, and you can get all sorts of options. There is this company, as you see here, called Termly. They are a very inexpensive, and I think the first time you use them is free. You can actually create a privacy policy for very little, if not nothing. So check them out. Easy to do, but just a quick way to improve your website. And yeah, for those, even from human standpoint, for those people that are looking for that kind of thing, it's a good thing to have. All right. What else in the world of trust? Well, first of all, low contrast text is terrible for usability as well as trust. So here's an example. Insufficient contrast definitely degrades the overall user experience, which I'll explain in a second. And frankly, people are less trusting about text that's difficult to read. So here's an example of a light gray on a white background. It's relatively difficult to read. And just inherently, people are going to kind of trust that website, if you will, a little bit less. The other thing that we've already established is that most people are using their mobile devices, they're going to your website on mobile devices, meaning that there's a real good chance that they're going to be outdoors when they do that. And if that's the case, they could be in bright sunlight. And if that's the case, forget it. You'll never be able to read, or they'll never be able to read text that looks like this. So there's a very practical reason as well. So let's look at some other bad examples. Here's light gray on dark gray. I think this is a terrible design choice. Or purple on purple. Believe it or not, you would think that this would be like a daycare or something fun, but this is actually an accounting firm. But anyway, let's look at some good examples by contrast, and no pun intended. This has terrific contrast. Nice, either dark gray or possibly black on white. The text pops a lot better. It's just good for everybody around. The other thing too is make sure the the font size of your text is large enough as well. That's another thing that you're going to want to look at for your entire website. Okay. People don't buy from businesses, people buy from people. That's one of my favorite expressions. And it basically kind of reinforces that you want to put a little bit of a personal touch on your website. You really should have an About Us page, because again, you're looking to make that personal connection with your customers. People love to know the background story of a company, or just know a little bit more about who they're dealing with. So I don't care whether you're selling something online or whatever service you're offering, give a little background information, or at a minimum, just have your picture and just a little bit about your credentials or certifications or whatever the case may be. But again, your goal is to make a personal connection with your audience. So here's a quick example. Here's some jewelers, great picture of this this couple. And again, they're very friendly, very engaging. Let's face it, if you were in the market for an engagement ring in that area, you'd probably want to stop in their store. Or financial advisors, there again, big, friendly, welcoming smiles. You know right off the bat who you're going to be dealing with, and they look trustworthy, they look friendly, and people that you probably would want to work with. And lastly, here's another quick example. Ann Von Jewelry. I'm not familiar with it, but apparently she's pretty big nationwide at this point. But when you go to her website, sure enough, you get her entire background and, how they started and how they've grown the company and so forth. Pardon me. So that's the kind of thing, if you're, whatever business you're in, give a little background information. If if you're selling olive oil online, pardon me, is it because you like Spain or Italy, or you're selling stained glass ornaments and maybe that's something your grandmother taught you? It doesn't matter. A little bit of information, and again, goes a long way in building that relationship with your audience. Okay, to take it a step further, consider telling your story through a video. Okay, so in addition to just a basic About Us page, strongly consider creating a video and posting a video on your website. Couple benefits to that. For one, it really makes a personal engagement with your audience because they get to see and hear from you, and it's like you're talking to them personally. Secondly, yep, Google loves videos because it's called enhanced content. So that is a huge SEO booster from, most people will agree. But you may be thinking, well, you know what, I'm a small business, I can't afford a videographer. I totally get that. But you can most likely get by with just an initial, quick video made with an iPhone. And just as time goes on, perhaps, move up to something a little more sophisticated. If you're looking for a great example of a company overview video, this Carolina Farm Table, just do a quick Google for them. Google search for them. They have a terrific video. It talks about how they are second generation furniture makers and all the effort that they put into their furniture and how that they are all handcrafted and so forth. And yes, it's professionally made, and they have to pay for that. But even out of the gate, if you get by with an iPhone, that's fine as well. So let's take a break and see one last time. Are there any questions, Taya, or how are we doing?
We're doing well, no questions as of yet.
Okay, hopefully I'm down to a few more. Hopefully I don't lose my voice. Okay, guys, let's talk about conversion boosters. So first of all, let's define what a conversion is. If you are an e-commerce company, needless to say, a conversion is a sale. So that's pretty obvious. But a conversion could be just about anything. If someone submits your contact form, that is considered a win. That's a conversion. Or if maybe you have a PDF that you're posting on your website that you're asking people to download. So maybe you're a wedding photographer and you have something like, 10 tips to make your wedding that special day. And then in exchange for that, you just ask for people's email addresses as an example. And for all the people that download that and all the email addresses that you collect, those are all conversions. So again, a conversion can take many different forms. It doesn't have to be an actual sale, even just generating a lead, as I said. So with that in mind, let's start off with e-commerce companies. Just a few things that you may want to consider is, first of all, adding some sort of indication on all your product pages that their credit cards are going to be secure. Now, again, if you're an e-commerce company, there's a good chance that you are using WooCommerce or what's the other one, Shopify, as the engine behind the scenes. And of course, these are very secure platforms. But regardless, it doesn't hurt to reinforce it on your product pages to let the people know that, yeah, you know what, your again, credit card is going to be secure. I've even noticed now that Amazon's putting that. And again, that could be the difference between somebody taking out their credit card and not taking out their credit card. Just that little extra bit of giving reassurance that their information is going to be safe. Another thing that you may want to consider is offering some sort of guarantee, if at all possible. So we've all seen infomercials where exercise equipment, as an example, yeah, you can buy it and you can buy it worry-free because you can return it in 60 or 90 days. But the reason they do that is most people, they know very few people are going to return things. But on the consumer side, it really lowers the barrier of the purchase because they're thinking it becomes very low risk at that point. It's like, wow, I can get my money back. Now you may be thinking that, wow, I'm a small business, no way can I afford to be giving stuff back and giving refunds. But my suggestion to you is give it a shot. You have nothing to lose, well, very little to lose. Give it a shot for a few months, see whether or not people are taking advantage of it. Maybe your sales are going up much more than the few returns that you take back. I think it's worth a shot. The other thing that you want to do from an e-commerce perspective is just make sure that you have some sort of address on your website. I see this as a kind of a miss time and again. You need to at least tell people, and I can appreciate that you don't want to, pardon me, you don't want to give your street address, but at a minimum, give your town and your state, just so people know, are you based out of Texas, Colorado, Pennsylvania? I think it's important to give people a sense of place as to who they're dealing with. And if you don't have any address information at all, that raises eyebrows. That is this even a US company? Is this company truly legit? So just a little tidbit or hint or tip, if you will, consider adding the town and state, if nothing else, because that could help with conversions. Speaking of helping with conversions, calls to actions or CTAs, another big miss that I see time and again. You need to tell people who are visiting your website what you want them to do next. So I see a lot of websites out there that are well made, they have good text, good content, and they even have good pictures. But they don't tell people what is it you want them to do. What people need to be led down that path. They need to be told in no uncertain terms what it is that you want them to do. And again, is it fill out a contact form? Is it make a phone call, get a quote, or something as simple as download a PDF that you're offering? So you need to look for these, and I'll explain what I mean, but you need to put these CTAs on every page. They need to be big, bold, powerful, very visible, because it can have a huge impact on your conversions. So let's take a look at an example here. This is a waterproof company, and right at the top, before you even scroll down, there's a lot of calls to action. Get a free estimate, both on the right side. Learn more about us. I would even argue that financing available at the top, that's another call to action. So this company knows what they're doing. They are putting, they clearly want you to call for an estimate before you move on to one of their competitors. And they're just putting that in your face time and again. And that's what you want to do. You don't have to be clear. You don't have to have your contact form at the top like this. But as people navigate your website, just time and again, it's good to put even in the middle of the text, like, hey, reach out to us today. And that would link to your contact form, or have your your company's phone number. But try to put those CTAs throughout. Let's take a look at a few other quick examples. So here is a software company, and right out of the gate, sign up for free. So it's pretty clear what they want you to do, right? Or this is a newsletter. Subscribe now. Same deal. That's really what they want you to do. That's, keep it simple. We just want you to subscribe to a newsletter. But rather than just going on and on about their newsletter, these are called calls to action. And just, I know you guys got the idea at this point, but just one last look there again. Get a free inspection, contact us, all that stuff. These are all calls to action. So the homework here is take a critical look at your website, go on each and every page. Are you telling people, again, how to get to your contact page? Every page on your website should have some sort of CTA. Either call us today to learn more, reach out to us, love to speak to you, get a free estimate, get a free quote, any of that. That's what you're shooting for. And I see big missed opportunities because companies just don't have enough calls to action, and they're probably losing out on a lot of conversions. Okay, a couple more. Customer testimonials really work, and I highly recommend that you put testimonials on your website. Why? Because you might have the best website in the world that talks about all your services and products and all the great things that you guys do. However, what you're not telling them, chances are, is what do your current customers say about you, right? So again, listing all of your services is a great thing, but give people a little insight into, yeah, this is what people say about my company. Let's face it, we all rely on testimonials, right? They're called, as you see here in the world of marketing, it's called social proof. We all use Amazon and we all buy products. And I don't know about you, but I don't buy as much as a pair of shoelaces without looking at 10 reviews. So we're all conditioned to do that. And then also, from a consumer standpoint, seeing these types of testimonials really lowers the bar between them reaching out to you and not. It gives them peace of mind, right? It's giving people a little reassurance that, wow, this company's the real deal. They do a really nice job. Look at all the great things that people are saying about them. Another approach you can take is just the star rating as well. Just a different take on the same thing. Because again, people are impatient. A lot of people don't even want to read the reviews, but just at a glance, sure enough, they can just say, oh, look at this. This company has a ton of 5 stars. And so it's more of a visual representation of testimonials. But the takeaway here is, do yourself a favor, either pull some testimonials or reviews from your Google reviews page, or if you have some loyal customers that you feel comfortable reaching out to, say, hey, I'm in the process of revamping my website. Can you do me a solid and just, give me a quick 3-sentence, testimonial that I can park on my website? And you don't even have to use their last name. You could just have Mike S or whatever. And this way, there's no privacy concerns. But this is a big one that I highly recommend that you do. And you can either, 2 ways to do it. You can have a page dedicated just to testimonials, but I'm a personal fan of peppering in testimonials throughout your website so people just kind of stumble upon them. So if they're looking at, again, if you're a landscaper and you have a page dedicated to lawn service and another page, dedicated to, leaf raking and fall cleanup or whatever, all of your various pages to pepper reviews throughout. And this way you're pretty much assured that people are going to stumble upon them. Okay, guys, one more, which is keep your contact form short. This is another thing that I see time and again. The reason being is that for every added field that you add to your contact form, there's a certain percentage of people who are going to fall off and they're simply not going to fill it out. So let's look at a not so great example. Here is a wedding photographer, and she starts off easy enough, or simple enough. My name's Mia. What's your name? Okay, that's fair. But what's your darling's name? Do you really have to know the fiance's name at this point in the conversation? You don't. And lots of other questions that are just totally unnecessary. On the right-hand side, who's coming to the wedding? Seriously? You don't need to know who's coming to the wedding. Or, how did you hear about me? Yes, you probably want to know that, but wait till you get them on the phone before you say, how did you hear about me? The bottom line is, a complicated form like this, people are going to bail. They're not going to fill it out. It's 10 questions. So your goal is this: keep your contact form short and concise, because after all, you really just need their name, email address, and maybe their phone number if you want to add that, and some sort of message for them to send to you. But just keep in mind that the fewer fields equal more conversions. That is key. So go ahead and take a look at your current contact form. If there's anything, any fat that you can cut out, I encourage you to do that, and it might result in more people filling out that form. So that's it, guys. The bottom line or takeaway here is that every website should be considered a work in progress, meaning that time and again, I see small business owners creating a website. They check the box and say, okay, I got that done, and they never look back at it. But you need to periodically look at your website with a critical eye and really go over the things such as the ones I just covered and how can it possibly be improved. And why would you go through this exercise? Well, a lot of reasons. As I already said, it can result in higher rankings in Google. It can result in longer customer visits, certainly more conversions, and most importantly, give you an edge on your competition. So these are all reasons to always take a fresh look at your website and think, how can I make this better, rather than just a set it and forget it. I built it 3 years ago and I frankly haven't looked at it since. And unfortunately, I run into that situation a lot when talking to small business owners. So again, guys, my name is Mike Samays. I am the owner of Customer Journey Pros. We specialize in Google advertising and website development. There is my contact information. Please jot that down. If you think of any questions after the fact, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to hear from you, or if I can help you out in any way. So that's pretty much it. Taya, any last questions?
Yes,
Any questions?
thank you for presenting, Mike, and thank you everyone for joining us. Please jot down Mike's information if you have any questions in the near future. And I also posted a 4-question survey link. It is a way that we use to value your feedback and improve our events in the future. And it is also required by our SBA funders, so we can continue to provide no-cost workshops. And it looks like, yes, the video materials from this presentation will be shared. You will receive a follow-up email within 2 to 3 business days that will contain all training materials.
So I guess that's it. Oh, possibly another question, or?
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone, and that will be all. All right.
Terrific.
No
Thanks again for joining, guys. It's been my pleasure. Take care.
Take care, everyone. Bye.